Right. All right. This is the Bitcoin Design Review Call number 40 for the amazing Proton Wallet. We have Dingcha, Ale, Kevin, and possibly a few others from the Proton team. We are super duper happy to have you. Welcome all. Um, I think I should just make a couple of notes before we like really hop in. Is first of all, I think I wanna say congratulations to the Proton team. I understand that you guys had a general release for the Proton Wallet app, so congratulations on that. Uh, and I think the way that maybe we could structure it is that I think Ale maybe she has a she has a presentation or something, or she can go into whatever she wants, and then towards the end we can have some questions. How does that sound to everyone?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Let me check if I missed something else. I think I probably mentioned this before the call, but I think a lot of us have been anticipating this for quite some time. So we have been eagerly waiting for this Proton Wallet design review call. So we are super duper happy to have you, and I guess we can jump in. I will hand it over to Ale.
Yes, I going to share my screen. 1 second.
Sure.
So one second. Do you see my note?
Don't see it yet.
Thing is working. 1 sec.
Sure.
Screen sharing, and the thing is like I don't see my. Okay, let's see. It's thinking.
You see something now?
You see white, but you don't see window. So, sorry, I need to open my system preference because, of course, I don't give permission to anybody to record my screen.
Have you guys had any issues with Jitsi before?
Many, but it's either not
Sometimes.
working at all or it's working. And today it seems to be working pretty well. But yeah, we have definitely had issues. But
So now it should work. I'm gonna start screen sharing, and we have it. All right, so you must be seeing my presentation.
Yep.
And I
Yes.
didn't manage to show my notes, so I will go without notes. So, hi everybody.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm Ale, and I'm a product designer here at Proton, where I have the privilege to shape the visual direction of some of our applications. Previously, I was working in Proton Pass, I work in Proton Mail, and lately I'm working in Proton Wallet. I come from Venezuela, but I'm based in Zurich, and I'm here in the Proton office in Zurich right now. For those who doesn't know us yet, we are Proton, and we are a Swiss tech company, and we make privacy-focused online tools. We have an email, a VPN, a Drive, an identity manager, a calendar, and now a wallet. Proton Wallet is our latest brainchild and our latest addition to the Proton Wallet ecosystem. We have launched our beta in July 2024. And since then, we have onboarded more than 100,000 users, and we have received a lot of good feedback and positive review. Just want to say thank you. We read every comment, we read every comment, every feedback, every review, and we take your feedback and your comments pretty seriously. And of course, we are always super happy every time we read something good about it, because we have been putting a lot of love on it. But today we are gonna talk about our product design journey. So let me take you behind the scenes. So how did we design Proton Wallets? We started by asking ourselves a fundamental question, and it was, how can we make Bitcoin more accessible? And we brainstorm a lot. We look at so many crypto wallets, Bitcoin wallets, finance and non-finance interfaces, and we debate, we brainstorm, we did many design thinking exercises, and we came across to what was for us the main challenges that a newcomer user or people has when they want to enter into the Bitcoin world. And they want to, for example, use a wallet interface. And we came with 4 main challenge. That was the one that we wanted to address first. So yes, usually crypto wallets, Bitcoin wallets, or every finance interface has very complicated UI. This comes, I think, because most of the users are very tech savvy and early adopters and quite advanced. So usually people that build this kind of wallets try to pack many features or have many cryptocurrencies, and because people even have like trading notions. And the problem with this is that this kind of adds a lot of complexity and a lot of interaction costs to these interfaces. Our second challenge, these interfaces or these wallets usually have a very complex setup. So as of course we are dealing with money, we tend to ask a lot for, recovery phrases. We need many verifications. Usually you have many steps, which results in actually, it is very overwhelming to set your first wallet. And I think this brings like a very high rate of drop-off. Third, we do feel that, there is a lot of sending friction, and we ask the users, for example, to copy paste Bitcoin addresses, and for the people that is not used to see this might, look very intimidating. And fourth, we usually find that these interfaces are always talking about sats, about Bitcoin, and these kind of notions are very hard to grasp. For example, the famous example of my cousin that's tried to pass, she bought Bitcoin and she wanted to pass money from one wallet to another wallet. And for example, so she wanted to send everything. And at the end, they were asking her for a fee that was 0.0004 Bitcoins. And this, for not tech savvy people means nothing. So for her, it has a lot of zeros, so must be not much. And but the end, actually, it took the half of her money because this crypto exchange has very high fees. And we also see it when, for example, here we are sending to a random address bitcoins, and when you are in a logic that we want to, maybe quick pay or to know how money I have, because at the end it's like, what do you want to know? It's like, how money have you sent and how much money do you have if the Bitcoin has increased so much. So for us, we wanted to decomplify this Bitcoin unit part. So then, what was our approach to solving these main challenges? So first, and it seems really, obvious, but we wanted to have a very simple UI. For this, we decided to focus into Bitcoin only, and also because we do think is the most safest one and the most easy to understand for the newcomers. Then, and yes, the fact of having one main currency will also help, the user to get first familiarized with it, and then maybe we can add a second one, but the learning curve is also less stiff, And second, we wanted to focus on the core actions. It means, like, for example, we reduce as many actions that we could, and that's why our first beta, or at the beginning our app, was on purpose. We don't have or too many features, because we also, as I just say, for the learning curve, we think it's better to start in adding complexity little by little, that bring all of the actions, all of the features at once. So that's why we decided to focus in buy, send, and receive. We can also, for example, we play a lot with the hierarchy of the actions too. It means, like, for example, this is when we arrive to the wallet for the first time, and the user already see that, for example, yes, you don't have money, so you cannot send. And maybe buy at this moment will be the most relevant one. So it's in a color that is stronger or highlighted. And then we have receive. Also, we also find a second call to action here. So in that case, if you didn't understand that you can buy here, you can always see it here. We also, so basically we added our accounts, a very simple drawer, and then we also wanted to have a discovery, or here we don't see it, but if you scroll, you find directly in the home page really articles that we have written in a very simple language that will help you to start the wallet there. And maybe before I go to the next point, I also say that we try to group the actions. So, for example, we have my wallet, and next to the wallet is like the setting button. So logically means, like, if you click there, you will arrive directly to the settings of your wallet. And we have this transaction panel, like we call it, that is kind of the core of the interface. And basically there we find what we assume is the most relevant information for the user to decide to buy at that moment. That is basically the current price, how much it has changed, and then maybe you decide to buy it. In the mobile version, we have an expanded view for this, so you can kind of see more the trends in the month or in the year. But that's basically what you need to know. So by bringing the current price of today to our app. We also kind of eliminate the necessity for the user to go and check, a separate Bitcoin price app. And the third, that for us was kind of very important, we conceive it, or we try to draw many analogies between, our wallet and an email app. And maybe here in the second view, you can see better that we try to use, because this analogy of sending Bitcoin, make it as easy as send it as an email and kind of make it conversational. So if you look, we wanted to actually put the transaction list at the core, and we tried to make the transaction list like an email. So you see the date, you see who sent it, and then you see the message, or if you have a note to yourself. So I think with this, we try to simplify, and also make the things easier to read for the users, not to having very intimidating transactions list. How did we address the second point, the second challenge? We create a very streamlined setup. If you saw in the previous slide, in the challenge slide, we started with many steps, and the more that we were thinking about it, the more that we were, simplify, reduce, simplify. And at the end, I'm very happy that we actually keep just one screen, and we actually realized that we have the chance of using the possibility to have this account logic. So via the account integration, we don't need, for example, ask for the confirmation, for the passphrase and the pass, the words in the first setup, because we have like a second security, that is actually the recovery via the Proton account. And then this actually allows us to do a lot of progressive disclosure. It means that we try to ask the user what we need at the right time and not ask too much. And also here, a logic that we try to use in all of the app is like pre-fill as much as possible. So for example, here we always we use smart defaults, and every time we say, okay, which is like the most likely currency to have. So our things are default, for example, to USD, or in the second time when you can put a name, the names is never, naming an account is never required. So it means like it doesn't stop the journey. We will rename the accounts for you. So at the end, we arrive with this very straightforward setup screen where the user just has to confirm. We also try to anticipate. That's why we have a lot of transparent screens, because for us psychologically, when you arrive here and you already see the interface behind, you are kind of on a step further in your mind. So the user knows what will happen when we click on create wallet. And I think this is important to reassure the user, and also to actually psychologically making it look, faster or easier. We are almost there, and we try to use this logic of transparent screens all the time. So that was our logic. So the first wallet, we have the best default, just ask to confirm, and it will automatically create your wallet. And then we always, the challenge is to try to cater to our use base that is more tech savvy, and but also being welcoming and easy to use for newcomers. So you will also see that usually we try always to hide the advanced information, but we always keep an advanced options that when the user click, you will see all the, the more tech savvy features. And yeah, in the second wallet, that's why we say, okay, let's reassure these people, and let's add already the option for the passphrase. Yeah, that's the same. That's what I was saying. Actually, I forgot I add this, but here, for example, here you always see that everything is hidden, so we try to keep it quite clean, and you always have a drop down that will display you, for example, the options for a passphrase, etc. Sorry, and Sarah, talk about this. Yes. So challenge number 3. How do we reduce friction in the sending? So basically, we at the beginning for the story, we create an alpha that it was mostly for our engineers, and to do a lot of to test feasibility, and also to test a bit, to do some internal testings. And with this alpha has descended in one screen, and you have so many options, and somehow it felt so complex that this gave you, we came with the conclusion that yes, we needed to have more steps, but make it simple. Just ask people for one thing at a time. So maybe here you can see in the web version that yes, we add, for example, the visible steps to help the user to see what is coming next all the time. We have the possibility to also send to many recipients, and also for us, what is kind of amazing and revolutionary is that actually you can use our Bitcoin via email setting, and you can just send it Bitcoin, like sending an email, and you can send it to the email. You can just send it to an email instead of having to copy paste and a complex Bitcoin address. And our last challenge is, for us, it was very clear that we need to give the people something that can relate to. And for us, we tried to, or we use fiat value as a default, and every time that we can, we just we are sending $100, and we separate by 50. So we kind of always display fiat as a main currency in our transaction list and everywhere, because it's more approachable, or like for the newcomers, it will be easier to say, okay, I will pay $2 fee instead of 0.0004 Bitcoin. And for us, it's really important. It's a way to also keep it transparent, and simplify the sending flow. And that's it. That's how we create we address these main challenges, and continue the journey. Is what next. We have the dark mode that we launch today or tomorrow, and we also continue to read all of your comments, and in Reddit, in X, in everywhere, and we are trying to continue to improve. And then we have some new feature surprises that will come for this year. Um, yeah, thank you very much. That was it. Anybody has a yeah, I didn't want it to do it too long. Sorry.
Yeah, it was awesome. I can say that because you outlined a few challenges and then you showed how you're solving those. So I think it was amazing. Thank you, Yael. Thanks for the
Thanks.
amazing deck and presentation. Yeah.
Anybody has any question,
Oh,
or how would you like to add something?
Jason. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't have a question.
Looks
Actually,
like
I was
Jason.
trying
Yeah.
to congratulate you
Okay.
on this great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe someone can share
Yeah.
their screen on Google Doc.
I did have a couple of points to add to the Google Doc, though, regarding accessibility for persons who might be blind using a screen reader. So there's some controls in both Android and iOS that are not announced as controls, or they're not announcing the labels for the controls. So it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for somebody that is blind to be using a screen reader to navigate. So just a couple of points on that I added already. I'll continue to look for more.
Yeah. Also, it looks like Eric has his hand up.
Yeah. So first of all, great presentation. Great overview. You kind of touched on that send Bitcoin via email, which I think is really an incredible feature because to me, that's always been kind of central to Bitcoin is that you should be able to send money as easily as you send an email. It's just information. What I'm really curious is what happens if you try to send to a Proton user who hasn't yet set up a Proton Wallet, but they have a Proton email address. Do you guys use that as like an onboarding opportunity? Do you tell the user that, hey, sorry, you're unable to send the Bitcoin because this person hasn't set up a wallet? I feel like there's a huge opportunity there, and I just wonder what you guys did with that.
Yes, actually, that's an excellent question, and I probably forgot to talk about that. But that was a bit of we actually ask ourselves this question, and what we happened today is that we decided never or almost never to stop the sending journey. So, for example, if you want to put a Proton email, a user that has a Proton account and it doesn't have a wallet, and even if you want to send it to any email, any email, not even a Proton one, we just let you do it. And what will happen is that you will see in the sending flow that instead of the amount, you will see that it was sending request. So we give you the status of this, and then basically, if you were sending, I'm sending you, Eric, $20. I will see that I sent. You will get an email that will tell you, "Hey, Eric, you received $20, but you have to open an account or log in to Proton Wallet to actually get the money."
So does that mean that
Uh,
the
I'll clarify that that was what we thought about, but at the end we just couldn't do that because we're not a custodian. So we tell the sender that yeah, this person doesn't have a wallet, and then you can try to invite that person to create a wallet. We were also thinking about just automatically creating wallets for everyone on Proton Mail to solve this problem. But we wanted to make the wallet a more solid product before we do that.
cool? Yeah, got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was curious about um the idea of it being a request because then I was thinking like, well, what happens is the transaction broadcasted or not? Is it so that it just Thanks for that clarity. Yeah, that's a fun problem to have. I don't think I've ever quite come across that.
Yeah, for me, it was like, let them send.
Yeah, no, I feel where you're coming from. It's just kind of like a technical limitation to the point you don't want to be a custodian. But yeah, go ahead, Daniel. I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, follow-up question to that. Again, I also think it's really cool that you're, trying to improve in this direction of, easier to read addresses and stuff. And just testing it out a bit, I assume that you basically under the hood store people's public xpubs as a key, so you can generate receive addresses for them. Is that how it works? Or because, or maybe it's just an anomaly when I put my own email in, it actually says an address where I can send to. Is that true for another user that have a wallet as well, or is it just me?
We don't have people's public keys, xpubs. Like when you log into Proton Wallet on the web client, we'll basically generate a pool of addresses for you, assuming you set up Bitcoin via email, which by default we do on the first wallet. And then we just, we use the user's email key to kind of sign this pool of addresses and then store that on our servers. And then we can just hand out these this pool of Bitcoin addresses to anyone who wants to send to that user. And then, yeah, they will verify the signature is correct, and then you can send.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. So the address that I'm seeing here, which you can't see, obviously, but when I put my own email in, it had an address there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But then I didn't quite understand how it works. So thanks for explaining.
Awesome. Any other questions? I think we do have a bunch of questions in the chat itself. Maybe we can go through those.
Yeah, I copied the questions from the Google Doc into the chat. Feel free to pick out whichever you would.
Daniel would love to know, how do we do that technically, sending Bitcoin to...
Which you just explained. I think there's a bunch of questions after that. So the first one would be, why did the team decide to set up 2 accounts by default, primary and Bitcoin via email?
Excellent question, I will say, because this was a big topic for us, and I think this was one of the questions that came after we, have this, because one side of us tried to simplify it, and then we do have actually, for example, privacy concerns, and actually we realized that actually for some kind, maybe our most advanced users or some people, we're the fact of exposing their email address became a problem. So we wanted to create a way to actually, keeping some anonymity, but making still understandable that actually, yes, when we send Bitcoin via email, probably the recipient will know who is sending them. So one of the ways that we came up to solve this problem, in the best way, or maybe the fastest way, because for example, this anonymity question, it was something that we didn't thought about it. We actually never realized it, that it will be such a big problem, so that's why we did it like that. You keep your account separated. If you see in the toggle for the first time, when you have the option to add an email address in your Bitcoin via email, they clearly tell you that yes, you can. This will means that the recipients will know which is your email address. And we kind of like to have this separate logic to do some transactions. The transactions that you want to keep private, we use an email address and Bitcoin address regular, and for the others the email. So it's also this thing about catering our 2 kind of users, the techie ones and the newcomers.
Yeah, I think that was also like that was one of the first questions that I had when I saw the early access application. I was like, oh, this is like interesting because at least I am not aware of a lot of applications having separate accounts for like different purposes, and I certainly didn't like realize that it could help users segregate their coins, and that could be a useful privacy feature probably.
Exactly.
So I think I yeah, I think that is super useful. I had one like question related to that is that I know that Proton Wallet provides the user the ability to use the seed phrase so that if they want to take the Proton Wallet elsewhere, like take the seed phrase elsewhere, and they can take it elsewhere to another application or something like that. And just like my question was, how would the different accounts, like multiple accounts that we can create in Proton wallets, would they be recoverable, or how would they be recoverable inside a different application?
Incho, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I mean, all these accounts are generated from the same seed phrase, the wallet seed phrase. So you should be able to recover any of them. You may have to just manually create the second account on these other wallets. But yeah, we just create them based on the list. We start from index 0 and then create a index 1. So it should be interoperable.
Good stuff.
All right, thank you for the presentation. It looks really awesome. I had a questions about what you learned from those 100,000 users. The first part of the question is, how do you understand your users while preserving privacy? And the second part is, what you've learned from them, what were kind of the biggest points of confusion or even excitement, and has that led you to make larger changes to the product?
I will say, and maybe yeah, Dinchao we probably, we are very different, so that's, I think, is great because everybody learns things different, But I can tell, in my case, first I learned that it's like never launch without dark mode. Because that was like, it was always planified, but actually the fact of choosing a light mode first, it was because we thought, okay, we always, you know the dark modes tend to be a bit, like techie or like trading, and a lot of these crypto apps has cryptocurrency apps are dark, and so we wanted really like to go completely away from it, and we say, okay, we will launch something that is very light and very round, and nothing like the opposite, to actually make it look more approachable. But the dark mode was always, in our mind. It's just like we didn't have the time to do it, or like to launch it, or we thought, it's not that a big deal. We launched the dark mode in 1 week, like we are doing it now. And now that was a big that was a big controversy. So the dark mode is there, and I will probably say, I don't know. I think we are a very small team. In Wallet, we are like maybe 8 people, and so it means like we collaborate very close, and we take the time to actually, from, for example, these 100,000 users, we have read every message, every comment, everything that has been, said or sent. We have been read it, we collect it, we discuss it privately, and we try it to see how can we, even if it's, there is just one person of this 100,000 that asking for this, we actually evaluate it. And basically, this 100 100,000 users has given us like the most valuable insights that, because basically they are actually shaping our product. And maybe to end that, yes, for example, one of the things I learned that I never, in my case, it was this kind of anonymity or notion of on anonymity that the users wanted to have. Because, for example, at the beginning, for us it was okay, let's do like a guest list, and we can invite people. But what we didn't realize it was that for some people it was such a big deal to, for example, that they will see their email address inviting you to wallet, and this, of course, with we didn't thought that it was going to be that much share in Reddit. And of course you don't want to give your address to publicly in social media. So I think we underestimate that. We only thought that you will probably share it with your family or your friends, and in that case you don't need to preserve your anonymity.
So basically, we added a way to hide your email when you send invites or the Bitcoin via email. You can also send it as an anonymous sender.
Yes, that we implemented after we the first guest list. We didn't have the anonymity, and quickly we realized that yes, this is something, for example, a feedback that we need to implement, and we add the anonymity mode for that.
Okay, maybe we can move to the next question about manual backups. Yeah, I think we have a kind of a checklist for people to back up their Proton account recovery, which is basically like similar to the wallet seed phrase. It's 12 words, but it backs up to your Proton account. And then we have, I think the second point is to back up the wallet seed phrase. And then I think we also tell people to set up 2FA to better secure their account.
If I could ask one more question about user feedback. So the people that you hear from are the people who give you feedback. There are also probably a lot of quiet people that never provide any feedback. Do you do any type of privacy preserving tracking or anything of that? So do you go out to do like diary studies and I don't know, anything else? Or is the fan mail kind of what you rely on mostly?
Well, I will say there is our user base that tends to be very vocal. So we always keep them, we have a very resourceful user panel there, but also we also keep in mind that there is also those newcomers or those ones that are not already, Proton users yet, and that we actually are the ones that we want to start using Bitcoin, and to adopt it. So I will say we will put something in place. I mean, we try to, leverage the insights about that we have from our user research more into like, going more into the newcomers. But this is also something that we might do very organically, because now we just launch and we will try to figure it out what is the best way to make it like everybody's voice heard,
Yeah, I think the short answer is, yeah, we don't know what the quiet people are thinking. We don't track these things.
We try to assume, but yeah.
Yeah, like the daily
Yeah,
price
right.
change,
I
is that
think
important to users? We don't know. We haven't received any feedback.
We haven't received any feedback for this, but for example, we have, or at least we have read many studies or some of the studies And we also observe, I mean, I was observing many people that actually use crypto wallets app, and for example, this I realized that many people has two apps. There is one that they go to check the price all the time, and there is the one which is the one that they buy or they sell. So I was like, why don't we combine both? So like that, they only need, to open one wallet.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I had a related question. Like I think like what you just talked about is like everybody has like a few, one or two or three apps that they use all the time. And my question, like related to that was, um, like, are you guys able to like discuss what were your favorite apps, or like which were like some of the design patterns from different apps that you adapted to for Proton wallet, like something you saw in some another application and you're like, oh, I like this, I'm going to use that.
Yeah, and maybe what is funny is that for doing this app, or in this case, I usually don't look at, or try it, not only look at crypto apps, but basically apps any kind. It can be like a restaurant app, and but one way I like to do is to exactly not look, or look not only related apps, but completely different, but that have the feeling that we want. So it means like there is this feel of approachable that maybe, I mean, we had so many screens, so many research, but they are like some apps that do it quite nice, and then you say, this feels approachable, and we try to understand why. And I think the fact of not looking at apps that are kind of the topic that you are trying to design helps you with that. So yeah, like the influence could be very random in my case. Like,
One more
What's the name?
question.
Yeah.
Oh, did someone else raise their hand before me? I saw that. Oh, Nandini first.
Yeah, I think Nandin wants to talk. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask you, Christoph, which Ale answered very well. Like, how do you reach out to quiet users? But if it's very obvious that in the starting you don't have many users on the Play Store or any reviews, so how do you reach out to quiet users? We cannot rely on the fan mails. It's obvious that they will be very appreciating towards our product. But do we rely on a community, close community, or like how do we actually reach out to quiet users? That was my question.
you wanna answer the show?
You're on mute, Christoph. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Or anyone
that's a
can
question
ask.
for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's always good if you're already talking to users before you launch your product, doing your user research, and you kind of have an idea for people. You can offer self-serve. You can put a link in there, like, hey, if you'd like to share with us, here is a form, and you can use a privacy-preserving form service to submit information. Maybe people with higher network or otherwise, more privacy-conscious Bitcoiners might prefer that. Yeah, you can ask for people to reach out. You can also, I think there are some options where you can collect statistics or tracking anonymously, and you can ask for people to opt into that. If people opt into that before you actually send anything to your server, you can even tell them like, hey, we collected this data about you. Is it okay if we anonymously send this to our servers? So there are different ways of doing things. So giving people the option on their own, so they don't have to talk. Like sometimes people don't like to talk, but they still like to share something. But yeah, there are some people, you can have your community forum, but some people you will just not get to. Yeah, no, there are always some quiet ones. I'm one of the more quiet ones for sure.
Got it. Thank you.
The We have 5 more minutes. If I could just ask one question, I was curious about Lightning support, the future, all of this fascinating technology. Anything maybe on the horizon there? Because Lightning will become more important. Let's say the price goes up higher, fees go up higher, small transactions become economically less viable, already are not viable for people in low-income parts of the world. Is Lightning maybe in the picture?
Yeah, we've been thinking about it for a long time, and Steve from Spyro and the LDK guys have been talking to us for a long time about it. We want to support it, but yeah, we have some challenges with it for now. But maybe this year we will. For Lightning, you either do custodial Lightning, which is what most people are using, but we don't really want to do that at this point and get licenses. Or you do the self-custodial Lightning, which has UX challenges, and also, we as Proton would have to, run the infrastructure, put liquidity into all the channels. And so far, we've seen some, like Mutiny Wallet struggle with that kind of business model. So yeah, it's we don't see a way to solve it easily at this point, but maybe things will change.
Yeah, I think in the chat there is a question from Steve. He's saying he would love to hear about the privacy issues, the privacy barriers to Lightning adoption, in your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, but it's not necessarily a priority for this meeting. So only cover that if we have nothing else to talk about in this meeting.
Well, does anyone else have any other questions? We have like 5 minutes to go, I guess.
Well, since we have a couple of minutes, I'm happy to ask another question, and maybe back to the design side. And like, okay, you've got the sort of version 1 or version 1.1 out. What's your kind of next thing you would like to tackle within the on-chain Bitcoin world? Is it something you feel like now that you've got a lot of real users that like, okay, I would definitely need to get onto this? Or
I mean, of course, there is already 2 or 3 main features that we want to add that is in our roadmap. I will say for the moment, in my case, that we are working on already, and I will say yes, Lightning is our biggest thing that we will love to have. I do think that there is a lot of improving that we have to do. I mean, I would love to tackle. I don't know if I can say that, but I would love to tackle, for example, the buy. I think there is a lot of still friction there, and usually in general, the buy is always very complex. In every app, because it requires a lot of verification. So I think there is so much room to improving the buy, to improving the privacy, to improving how easy it is. We have to there is a lot of work that is coming now that is about curating details, and not visual, but also the whole experience. That I think it will really make a big difference. All of those details about the new features, I think I cannot say which ones are gonna be. But I think the things that mostly all of you are waiting for, we have.
Yeah, it's basically requests from users, and they make sense. It's we continue to invest in trying to make Proton Wallet kind of the best on-chain Bitcoin wallet.
Thank you. No, that makes sense. If you have users that tell you what they want, that's obviously the best the best situation to be in. But and also, you probably can't go into any details about this, but it's always interesting, when you build products and you get all these people turn up at your door, but then how many stick around and how many convert into actual having balances in their wallet, those sort of things. Like, is there anything you can share around those numbers? Or
we actually can't see people's balances, but yeah, we do see kind of general activity, and we can see how many broadcasts happen, the sending, and yeah, these numbers are so far pretty low. I think it will take time for people to kind of trust us and yeah, play with it and get comfortable with using Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure. I think we might be out of time. If anybody still has a last question, I don't know if Dingcha and Ale, you guys have the time for it, but I know that I do have a lot of questions. I'm going to share them with you guys and with Ale, and I also just want to say silent payments. A lot of us love silent payments. If you can have that. We also have these human readable addresses, which Proton has already done with Bitcoin via email, but there is a BIP 353 for human readable addresses. I think that could make the Bitcoin via email feature extendable. So if you guys are thinking about it, if you guys are planning any of that, we would love to have those features.
Great.
Great. And
All right.
I mean, we can always continue the discussion in the Discord channel. I'm
I
there.
like that.
Write me, ask me anything, ask Dinjao. I mean, and give us all of your feedback, good, bad, very bad. I mean, we are, we are like very, very happy to have any kind of feedback, because we really want, make this good and right.
Yeah, awesome. We'll do that definitely. We would love to be in touch. We would. I think I can say from a Bitcoin design team that we would love to be of use to the Proton Wallet team. So if it is something like user testing, user research of any kind, or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help. And and also, yeah, thank you all. I think we are kind of out of time already. So, Ale, Ding Chao, Kevin, I think he's in there somewhere. Anybody else? So, yeah, thank you guys for taking the time. We were really uh, eager to do this call. And so we are so happy that you guys did that. And we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next time. See ya.